Okay, thoughts next day. So we used the N6 for point of comparison. This is a 556 SD. These are both 51 tooth cans. So we shot this can in two conditions. We shot it on there as tight as we can get it, and it still is in the notch, and we loosened it back by 1 notch just to see if we got more rotational play. What does that do? So 1 full notch rotational play, and here no real play. I mean, just the slightest. Now in this position, I don't have any lateral play that's perceptible. When I back it off 1 notch, then I do have some, just a smidgen of lateral play. I did not back it off a 3rd notch because I wasn't willing to risk a baffle strike, but you'll see what we did on paper again. I'll show you that. Did rotational play hurt accuracy? Actually, it didn't, and I'll show you here in a minute. It did affect the point of impact, though. There was a shift between this notch and this notch. Now, sometimes you can get your can tighter on these mounts. Some people think it has to do with the manufacturing tolerances of the mount and the can, and maybe it does, but usually it has more to do with, you know, how dirty your can is and how dirty your mount is. So clean your mounts. I use a Dremel with a wire wheel predominantly. You want your can to be under straight, so remove any accumulations of you know, vaporized carbon or lead and brass and all that, right? But this particular can here can get a little tighter than the other one. So got our second to last tooth here, and I try to make it tighter and tighter and tighter, and I get to here and it won't go. It doesn't want to go tighter. Now I can actually click this over, and there you go. We're locked on the next notch, and I have no rotational play whatsoever. So that's nice if you can get it. Do you have to have that? Don't think so, and I'll show you why. What you don't want to do, though, is you don't want to try and get it over to the next notch and end up here. That's as far as you get. You leave it there. You'll shoot a couple rounds. This will back off on its own, and you'll get a point of impact shift. John Hollister talks about that, and he also says that this is a retention device, not a tension device. So it's merely to keep it from coming loose. It's not to try and make it tight. If you can get it nice and snug, that's fine. But you see a lot of people talking about modifying their cans and their mounts, and I don't know that that's necessary. So anyway, coming over here, look at the paper. So again, we did an example of our worst condition, you know, having the can on the second to last notch, and we did that with 193. I would expect that kind of a group with 193 at 100 yards. Then I switched over to 69 grain Match Kings, loaded Federal factory load, and we get a point of impact shift to be expected because it's a slower bullet, so gravity has more time to act on it. It hits a little bit lower, but you got all the rotational play there, and the group is not bad. You'll see that's a 1.5 minute group essentially. You know, 1.62, I get it, but we're in the 1.5 MOA neighborhood, and most of the other groups that we shot with this are in that neighborhood. So we tightened our can to the last full tooth, which is where we want it to be all along. We just did this as an example of, you know, how bad can it get, right? So we tightened our can to the last tooth, or last notch, and we got that. We get a point of impact shift, not a big deal. The size of the group is comparable. Now, it's a 5-round group, not a 10-round group. I get it. And I did throw out that flyer on the 10-round group because that was obviously me. Not my best day of shooting, but we'll take that. So how does that compare for group size and point of impact? We did some can on, can off testing. So we did that one, that one, that one, can on, can off, can back on. And our group size and our point of impact, pretty comparable in all of those. So what does rifle do without the can? Do we have point of impact shift? What about our group size? Well, no can. So we are a little bit to the right, about an inch, but our elevation is comparable. So there is that. So this is what the rifle is capable of with this ammo, with my setup and my eyes and all that stuff. So, you know, that's about, you know, a 1.5 neighborhood. Take out a flyer there, give myself some credit. But the gun did not shoot worse with the Canon, and we have a repeatable point of impact. So even with rotational play on that second to last tooth, it didn't hurt us, okay? So is this myth busted? I think so. You know, these aren't the best cans if you want to have a sniper rifle or maybe a long range rifle, but for, you know, carbines, shooting no better than 1 MOA, yeah, you're probably okay. So I've been pretty happy with these. And as far as people saying rotational play is bad, I'm just not seeing it. I could be wrong. This is a sample of one. Do your own testing, see what you think.